Hi book besties. You know what today is. It is wrap-up season. It is November reading wrap-up time. This month was an interesting reading month. It went pretty good. I either read fantasy or Christmas romance. Nothing else. No variety. But we are just gonna hop right in. Technically, this is the first book I read this month, but I'm gonna talk about it at the same time with the second one, so we'll put her on pause. But I started the month by rereading Fourth Wing in anticipation of Iron Flame. Fourth Wing is a 5-star read for me, no questions about it. This book is literally incredible. I read it for the first time, I think in May, gave it 5 stars then, still 5 stars now. If you don't know what this is about, it's about, essentially they're at a war dragon school and Violet was set to be a scribe, but she goes into the Rider Quadrant instead and has to go on these trials, bond with a dragon, all that. There's so much good found family in this book, and there's a good romance everyone loves, including myself. And Violet is just such a strong main girl character, and I love her so much. The thing I really love about Fourth Wing is it just puts you straight into the story. Like, there isn't really any world building at first, you go straight into it, which I really appreciated because I feel like that's how I learn best about the world that the book is in. With Iron Flame, I also gave this book 5 stars. This one, you kind of at the beginning got a bit of an information dump, and this one is definitely more politic heavy. I was confused at some points during this book, but that is okay. It was still incredible. I still love the characters so much, and again, the found family is still so good. I would say Fourth Wing is definitely better than this one in my opinion, and some of the politics did kind of confuse me a bit, and like just what was happening. A lot of people are like so shook by the ending and like think it's so crazy, but for me, I honestly didn't think it needed to happen. Like, we could have just cut that part out, ended the series, but I'm not mad because I love these characters and would love 3 more books with them. There is lots of like theories going around about this book too. My brain's not really big enough to comprehend some of the theories or theorize on my own, but I'm interested to see if some of what I've seen on the Instagram, TikTok is true. This one, like I said, is definitely more politics heavy, and the romance is still pretty heavy-ish. If you know, you know. It's still so good. And then I read the Shepherd King duology by Rachel Gillig. This duology is so powerful and just such a well-rounded fantasy series. There is literally everything you could ever ask for in this one. I think I give the first book and the second one both 4.25 stars. They didn't quite hit that 5-star reach, but they were definitely more enjoyable than just a 4-star. So this one follows our main girl Elspeth, and in this world there are these magical cards. There's 12 different ones total. One of those cards is missing, and if that card gets found, they can then stop this like mist that's imposing on the town and infecting people. So this whole magic system, it was unlike anything I've ever read. To me, it just hit so hard, and like the dark kind of gothic vibes were incredible. This book, I loved the characters. There is a romance in here. It's not super heavy, but it is such a good romance. There's so many characters you will love. It's kind of a found family a little bit, and these vibes are perfect, I feel. And then the second one is called Two Twisted Crowns. This one was just as good. I can't pick a favorite. I'm kind of leaning towards this one I liked a little bit more, but I don't know. So this one continues the story right where I was left off, and in this one there gets another perspective added, which I really enjoyed. I loved that character so much, and just you got a good amount of POVs to this book, and all of them were equally as interesting. Like, I'd finish reading one POV and I'm like, oh, I want to keep reading theirs. Then I'd start the next one and be like, ooh, wait, I want to keep reading this one. So this was so interesting, and I loved the new POV you got in this one. I loved that character, and kind of their story too was also interesting, and I really liked how there was kind of 2 different storylines going in this one and how they intertwined at the end. It was so good. And then I read Kingdom of the Wicked. This is the first book in the series. I don't know what the series is called, but this book, I was really loving it at first. I was like getting like 4-star vibes from like the first 100 pages. I was so into it, and then the like second half, it just fell really flat and got really boring to me. So I ended up giving this one a 3 stars. I think I originally said a 2.5, but then I was like, I really enjoyed the beginning though. so we'll give her a 3. It's about our main girl Amelia, and she has a sister Victoria. It's spelled like Victoria, but it could be Victoria. I don't know. They are witches, and her sister actually gets murdered in this one, so she kind of summons this like spirit, fate, god thing, Wrath, to help her find her sister's murderer. She's always grown up being like told to not deal with the fates, like they're bad, whatever, but she still asks for help anyways, and then they go about trying to find the murderer. I thought it'd be kind of a fun fantasy murder mystery vibe, but honestly it got kind of boring. Like after the first like 100 pages, I'm like, okay, like what's the point? I mean, it was still interesting. I feel like I'll eventually continue the series, but I don't really have a desire to right now unless I hear like the second one gets crazy. I did like the characters in this one, and I really liked the setting too, but I just feel like the storyline in this one wasn't that interesting and was kind of boring. So 3 stars. You guys, freaking Lovelight Farms. Oh my gosh, this book was so good. But this book, you guys, I don't know why it hit so hard. I think I was in like the perfect mood, the like Christmas spirit, whatever, but this hit so hard. It's 4.25 or 4.5. I can't decide. I feel like I gotta give it some time because see how much I think about it, all that. It's about our main girl, Stella. She owns this like freaking Christmas tree farm. I mean, seriously, could it get any more vibey? But her farm is basically kind of struggling for money. So she enters in this contest that this like influencer is putting on. So the influencer will come to her farm and like feature it on her page, and also there is like a cash prize if you win. So she is hoping for that because it could save the farm. And when she applied for said contest, she lied on her application saying she had a boyfriend. Enter her best friend Luca, who agrees to fake date her since she did lie on this application. Their whole like friendship dynamic was so good. I loved the guy in this book. I do wish we got a little bit more about him. I feel like we didn't really go into like his past, his like present, what he does every day, you know, type thing. So if it would have been like dual POV, or like we would have got more about him, I guess I would have really enjoyed it more. But like I said, I still really loved it. There's so many good side characters in this, and it's set in this super cute small town where you love like the characters from the town too. There's one especially that I'm thinking of that I just love so much. Like he just made the book so much better, I feel. There's a little like side mystery thing going on too, which is so fun. It is so cute. I love this so much. The vibes are literally perfect for this season. And then I read In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. This is another like Christmassy read. I'm just really in the Christmas spirit, I guess. This is basically a time loop book where she has to redo the certain week of Christmas over and over again. So every year her family goes to stay at this like cabin in the middle of nowhere. Such a good vibe. I love it. I want to stay in the cabin. Her family stays there too, along with all of their like family friends and everything. There are these 2 brothers that one of them she's liked for like her whole childhood, and the other one is like just kind of been there, I guess. So there's kind of 2 love interests. Not really. Like the one's definitely more like defined on who it's gonna be. I ended up giving it a 3 star. It was still really enjoyable, and I loved like the vibe of the cabin and like all the Christmas activities they did together during this time. But I didn't really love the romance or the characters. It was okay. I mean, it was fun for the season, but it's not something I'll think about again, I don't think. The whole like time loop in this, it was okay. Like I really liked what she had to do to figure out how to like beat it, I guess. I thought it was gonna be a bigger part of the story than it was, but that's okay. I liked how it wrapped up. And then I read The Wake Up Call by Beth O'Leary. I think this just came out pretty recently, actually. So this one, I wanted another Christmas book, and this one is not necessarily super Christmassy, but it's set like during the Christmas season, like December to like January. So the vibes are there, but they're not super overpowering. This is set at this like hotel inn thing. I was really excited about that because I was picturing like, you know, the Gilmore Girls inn, just like such a cozy, like homey feeling inn. And I did like the setting, but I feel like we could have got more details about the inn and like what it was like. The story mainly focused on how much the inn was struggling to stay open because there were some money issues with this one, and they were kind of throughout the story trying to save it. Through their efforts to save it, they found this like box of rings. The main girl, Izzy, she goes on this like mission with the help of the guy to return the rings to the owners who had them, and they make like a little bet on this. They're dynamic at first. They're like rivals, enemies, whatever. For the first like 100 pages, I was not vibing with the two main characters at all. They're just like, rivalry was kind of getting annoying, and I genuinely thought that they were 15. Like, you couldn't have convinced me that these were like 20 somethings. I don't even know how old they actually are, but I felt like they were 15 years old because of how they were behaving, and just like, my brain was just associating it with 15-year-olds, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't really vibing with it at first. I'm not gonna lie. I was like kind of thinking about DNFing it, and I actually started another book in between this, which I usually don't do. It did get better after the first like 100 pages, and I ended up really enjoying this. It was really cute. I liked how they went on the mission to find the rings owners. I did think it was going to be a more prevalent plot point though, and we'd get like details about the rings owners and like the story about it and like into their past, but that didn't really happen. It was okay. I don't really think I like the like enemies, rivals to lovers trope anymore, because they were just kind of annoying at first. I don't really think that's my favorite in romance books, but in fantasy, I ended up going with a 3.5 for this one. I really ended up enjoying it at the end. So like I said, I started another book while reading The Wake Up Call, and that book was none other than The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I was hyper fixating on going to see the movie, and I didn't really plan on reading the book before because, I don't know, I didn't just have the urge to read it, and I decided to pick it up. So I got to page 156, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm not necessarily super obsessed, but I am loving it. I was always a Hunger Games stan. I read all the books in like middle school, and I've seen all the movies multiple times, but I haven't really like watched them super recently because honestly the idea of being forced to fight in arenas scares me, because if I had to do that, I would be in like 2 seconds. I really want to see the movie now because I somehow got on Ballad of Never After and PETA TikTok and Instagram Reels. I'm like, I haven't even seen the movie. I can't be on this without knowing the full like story and everything. And I've been listening to Can't Catch Me Now on repeat. So I was like, it's time. It's time. I'm hopefully gonna finish this by the end of the month. So I wanted to talk about it now while I'm filming this. I'll probably, if I finish it, you'll see my thoughts after this. I'm liking it so far. I have no clue where this story is going. All I know is it's about Snow and Lucy and him mentoring her. I really want to finish it so I can see the movie this weekend, hopefully. Okay, I told you guys I'd update if I finish this book, and I did. I just